The City at Midnight, a tale by Learning English Listening.
There was a city that was just like any other city during the day. The streets were bustling with people going to work, shops were open, and the sun shone bright. However, at midnight, everything changed. The city would transform into a completely different place. The streets would become dark, and strange things would happen. It all started with a legend that had been passed down through generations. The story was that every night at midnight, the city would transform, and the dead would walk the streets. Nobody knew how or why this happened, but everyone feared it. People would rush to their homes, lock their doors, and stay inside until morning. One night, a young girl named Lucy was walking home from a late shift at work. She had heard the legend before but didn't believe it. As she walked down the empty streets, she noticed that the city was different. The buildings were old and decrepit, and there were no lights on the streets. She felt a chill run down her spine. Suddenly, she heard a noise behind her. She turned around, but there was nobody there. She started walking faster, but the noise grew louder. She looked back again and saw a figure in the distance. It was a man, but he looked different. His eyes were dark, and his skin was pale. She realized that it was one of the dead that the legend spoke of. Lucy started running as fast as she could. She could hear the man's footsteps getting closer and closer. She turned a corner and saw a group of people huddled together. They looked terrified. She ran towards them and saw that they were trying to keep a door closed. She helped them, and they managed to close the door just as the man caught up to them. They were safe for now, but they knew that they had to find a way out of the city. They started to explore the streets, looking for a way out. They encountered many other frightening things, like ghostly apparitions and creatures that they had never seen before. They kept moving, hoping to find an exit. As they wandered the dark streets, they discovered a building that looked different from the others. It was old and covered in vines, but there was a light on in one of the windows. They cautiously approached the building and knocked on the door. A kind old man opened the door and welcomed them in. The old man explained that he had been waiting for them. He had been searching for people who could help him break the curse that had been placed on the city. He told them that the city had been cursed by a wicked witch who had been angry at the people for destroying the forest that once stood in its place. The witch had cast a spell that caused the city to transform at midnight and allowed the dead to walk its streets. The old man explained that they needed to find the witch's cauldron and destroy it. He gave them a map and sent them on their way. They made their way through the city, fighting off ghosts and monsters, until they finally found the cauldron. They destroyed it, and the curse was broken. The city reverted to its normal self, and the people were no longer afraid to go out at night. They thanked Lucy and the others for breaking the curse and saving their city. The legend of the city that transformed at midnight was no more, and life went on as usual. Lucy and the others had saved the city from a fate worse than death. And they would always be remembered as heroes.